G'day. We've put together a really special video outlining what 2025 looks like for us here at Citywide. The problem is it's too long to fit into one service. So what I have for you now is an excerpt of some of the highlights. So we'll show that to you in the service today. And then I really encourage you to go and watch the whole thing. It's available on YouTube. And I hope you're as excited as I am about what's coming our way in 2025. This whole year is going to be around what does it mean to actually follow Jesus. We'll be talking about that for the coming weeks. Then we're going to dive into the book of Acts and wrestle with what that means. And then we're actually going to look at a book about happiness. Today, we're launching a new strategy to help you follow, bless, and share. And it is mentoring. Whether you're 10 or 110, we think you need a mentor. And as part of that, we also think you need to be thinking about what does it mean for you to mentor others. We are trying to introduce this idea that all of us could really benefit from sitting down with someone for about an hour a month who will just be there to support you. So if you've got an hour a month you could give to support somebody else, we'd encourage you to go to the website and sign up to be a mentor. If you kind of know you'd benefit from having someone on your team, someone on your side, helping you step into all that God has from you, then I'd encourage you, sign up to be mentored. And I don't know how to break the news to you. I think we all need both.
Well, Matt's asked me just to talk for a minute about prayer at Citywide. There's the Monday morning time slot, and on Thursday nights we have our engine room, and then also, of course, we have our prayer chain. Then also on the first Saturday of every month, the Nepalese have a prayer and fasting morning. And the other thing we do is twice a year we have a week of prayer and fasting.
There are 4 other opportunities we wanted to give you to get input that may be of specific help. The first is a podcast, which we've just launched called Theodynamics, and it's the foundation of foundations. We are looking forward to inviting married couples to join us.
For the Alpha Marriage course, which is starting on March the 3rd. Yeah, it's always good to just spend some time getting some tools on how to survive being married.
Yeah, and particularly when you're married to someone like me, it makes it a bit easier. so helpful for us, hopefully helpful for anybody.
On the 5th of May, Citywide will be hosting the first ever circuit breaker course to be held in Tasmania. But ahead of that, on the 14th of April, we've got a guy called Matt Bolton coming down, and he will be doing a free community seminar called Keeping You're Cool.
In July, we'll also be rerunning the enormously popular Future Proofing Your Life, particularly aimed at people sort of 55 plus who need to think through what it means to organise your life a bit differently towards the latter part of your life.
Today is my 3-year anniversary. I just want to start with a thanks. This building is looking a lot better. We're wanting to make space for our children. We've got a few coming through the ranks, and we think we don't have a good place for parents to take their kids to cry during services and things. So we really need to pop a window in here. Matt thinks there might be one inside that wall somewhere, and then possibly a door so it's got direct access to the auditorium. Then this place becomes a lot more usable for that as well. This will be a youth space by the middle of the year. As a church, we need to invest in our kids and youth work more, and providing a nice vibe for them will actually be part of that. I'm imagining that in the future we'll have board game afternoons. Games are popular these days, and jigsaw clubs or whatever, but they will kind of flow out from here. So this door here in the end will become a sliding door. So you just basically push the door back, then you get this youth space here. It's quite long and thin. That's why we want a sliding door to be able to open it up. But there'll be games consoles and basketball just out the door, and so it just becomes this youth hub where they can hang out. So youth group on a Friday night, they'll come in here, have their Bible study, their discipleship, things like that. I find that in the lounge room that we've got currently, it feels a little bit clinical. This will be their space. But to do that, we've got to build a ceiling to hide all the yucky, lovely new heaters. But we've got this storage space. We need a bit more storage for all the junk. That's pretty much unusable because it's only accessible by ladder. So we're actually going to build some stairs that go up the side here. So that means you can actually just use that as storage and then get this new roller door in so it's soundproofed. You'll hear all the traffic behind me probably. Yeah, and then we get storage space.
Hi guys, my name's Chelsea. I help with the youth and children's work here at Citywide. Just here to give you a bit of a rundown about what it's looking like this year. So for youth group, we're a small bunch this year. We've got about four people coming, but in some ways that is a blessing because we get to change the way we do it and try new things, which is pretty cool. We've also got some new people on the youth team. So we've got Anya, who's been around for a little bit. And then we've got Ashlyn and Daniela, who are joining the planning team this year. And I'll just sort of be hovering, helping out where I can. So really looking forward to that. So if you could please be praying that we can nurture the ones that come and also that more will come as well, and pray that we can provide a space for that. And then with Kids Church, NRG Kids, that's the same as normal. We've still got the lovely Sophie and the lovely Danny teaching as well as myself. And we've got about 3 families that come at the moment, which is good. So if you could pray that that will be a steady year as well and that will continue to grow, that would be great.
We've heard plenty of feedback about not doing a church camp last year. We're going to do a church camp again. Poatina sadly isn't available, but as we've wrestled with it and the journey that God's got us on as a church, we had a sense it might be right to connect with Perth Baptist Church. What this means is we'll have our church camp at Perth Baptist Church, which in some ways, I don't know if you realise this, was kind of the founding church of the Baptist movement in Tasmania. There were massive Baptist youth events that happened there from the 50s through to the 70s. You can talk to Agnes or Pat Cure or others about that. Every Sunday we have a whole team of people working behind the scenes so that those who aren't physically with us can be part of church online through YouTube or Facebook. One of the people who is part of the team but often isn't physically present is Diane Allen.
Hi, my name's Diane Allen. You might know my name through the prayer chain and also through the recent month of prayer that we've had at church that I've been doing with Cheryl. I'm pleased to be on the journey that I'm on now, and I'm continuing to grow. So it never stops. You're learning all the time what God's got direction for you, and He tells you, you're always being led. So even though I've been a Christian since I'm at a very young age, it's still a journey, and it will be a journey until the time I meet Him. I've been connecting online with people because I can't go to church physically anymore. I really miss church anyway. I do miss the companionship and just seeing people, but it's nice to see them even online and you see the back of their heads and say, oh yeah, good morning. This is my way of staying connected to our church and just answering what God needs me to do in my life. Yep.
What we found here is there are a heap of kids who live around this area. This estate behind our church is full of young families, full of tradies, and we just want to reach those families and help them out. Parenting is a tough time these days. They're working hard, extra hours, and so we just want to be able to provide service for them. We also want to help kids come to know Christ, and if there's a way of matching those two. In January next year, we're aiming to run a kids club here. We've got the perfect venue. We just need to be able to get the kids in. So we'll be doing a bit of door knocking, a bit of surveying, not manipulative surveying, but actually saying how can our church be of service, and really asking genuinely how can we make a difference here. And then I think running a kids club in January, I'm imagining we'll start with 30-40 kids and then grow it from there. Once you've got a critical mass, free childcare during the end of January is very popular. So it won't take long after we've started to be able to build that up and to build relationships here in Mornington.
Late last year, we made contact with a bunch of local business people whose heart had led them to want to make a difference, and in particular to sponsor a refugee family to move to Hobart. But then they realised that they wouldn't have the time needed to do things like taking the family to the shops or showing them how to navigate Centrelink. And so as we discussed it, I knew that's the heart of Citywide and what we'd want to do. So we've agreed to partner with this local group of business people who are sponsoring a family to come to Hobart and hopefully to build a team so that once the family land here in Hobart, we as a church will surround them with care and help them settle into what will be a very strange experience for them. This is information about the new government program that makes it all possible.
Australia has a new community refugee sponsorship program. The time has come for you to join in with your friends, family, neighbours, co-workers, or friends that you've not yet met to welcome refugees to Australia. This is your chance to join a growing global movement that is helping refugees find safety and belonging in Australia. Get involved today. Visit refugeesponsorship.org.au.
We've almost finished, but there's some pretty big things, well, two particularly big things that I want to share with you before we finish. The first is this, that Baptist churches around Australia are committing to, in a particular way this year, work together to invite people to get to know Jesus through the Alpha course. We're looking at starting an Alpha course on April 30th, and we're really hoping it'll be a moment where lots of our friends might get to come and explore faith for the first time.
This is the greatest season of evangelism in our generation. And so I invite you to be a part, to join now on Mission 25.
In 2023, we encouraged all of our Queensland Baptist churches to lead Alpha courses in their churches, in their communities together. And I don't think it's any coincidence that in 2023, we saw more new believers get baptised in our Queensland Baptist movement than ever before in our 170-year history. That's why I'm so excited about joining together, not just with churches in Queensland, but Baptist churches right around Australia as we lead Alpha courses together.
God-sized dreams move us to depend on Him and partner with others.
Mission 25 is a collective of churches who are joining together to share Jesus across Australia through prayer, invitation, and through running Alpha in Term 2 2025.
We've been so excited to see people encountering Jesus and choosing to follow Him across our local churches through Alpha courses.
Alpha is simply one of the best tools we have for communicating the truth of who Jesus is to people looking for hope.
We're excited to see Alpha run in homes, in small groups, in big groups, in churches, in schools, in prisons, in workplaces.
I know God's going to move. I know we're going to see a move of God's Spirit across this nation. We're going to see many people put their faith in Jesus and have their lives transformed forever. Hey, make sure you're part of it.
Would you join us for Mission 25?
Join us for Mission 25.
Would you join us for Mission 25?
Would you join us in Mission 25?
Would you join us in Mission 25?
2025. Let's lead Alpha together, Term 2, and see many people come to know Jesus.
Since I arrived at the church, one of the things that was immediately obvious and what almost everybody spoke to me about was this. This is our backyard, and it is an incredible asset we have. We've been taking a journey as a church, and what we'd like to present to you today is our general sense of what might be right here in our backyard. It seems that in the Clarence area there are three groups of people in particular that have significant needs, and those three groups are women in particular escaping domestic violence, older, often single women, and people with disability. In talking with Creative Homes Tasmania, they actually paid out of their own pocket to do a a survey of our backyard, and they came up with a plan that said we could fit 17 units on our backyard. We think that's probably too much. We need to keep green space and a place for the community to gather. But see if you can picture with me a community here made up of about 15 units with 4 or 5 for women escaping domestic violence, possibly down the back there. And then up here, a bunch of units, again, maybe 4 or 5, for older single women. And then maybe along here, another 4 or 5 units for people with a disability. And we'd be talking about our church helping facilitate a sense of community. We would be partnering with professional organisations. The Salvation Army have already expressed an interest in helping manage the accommodation for women escaping domestic violence. And there is already a disability service provider, the same one who works with Roe Allen Park in Kingston, talking about or expressing real interest in managing the disability side of things for us. We know we're not professionals, but what we can do as a church is if we have a community here, an intentional community of care here in our backyard, we can work on the community side of things. It's interesting the journey God's had us on with all of those 3 groups. There's been a group in our church who have sensed a call to working with people who are escaping domestic violence and the whole issue of domestic violence. We have had an ongoing relationship with and an increasing relationship with people who manage a disability or who are connected to people who manage a disability. And of course, we have a bunch of older women who are part of our church family. So we would love to see a special kind of community of care happen here in the backyard. And we've got just the very initial stages of a discussion document that will be available for you today. Well, there you go. That really was just a glimpse of the very special year we have coming your way. I am conscious of so many really significant things that we haven't even had the chance to talk about. The way that the Levendale community is starting to build as a model of rural church. The partnership with Baptist Mission and G1 now becoming a worker for Baptist Mission Australia, supporting the work of our Nepalese congregation. I'm so excited this year we're supporting 2 new Nepalese pastors in Nepal. And there's so much. I'm glad that today you've got a handout with some of the dates for the year. Don't feel overwhelmed. Here at Citywide, we don't think it's your task to be involved in all of this. Just you need to know all of this is Citywide and an expression of our heart to follow, bless and share. Really want to encourage you to go and watch the full video on our YouTube channel and pray about what your part is in Citywide in 2025.